It's hard to stop it once it starts. I'm not sentimental, but there's something about the way you look tonight. Makes me wanna take
Yawa Immortals.
You better lock your phone.
I want to welcome you here to Shadow Season 2021. We're ushering in October. And what I want to examine today is the spectrum of the self. What we would call the light body self and the shadow self. And in actually reflecting on these things, what actually is, and to give it a name, to give it a reflection on the line, we can call it shadow self, but how it is actually the whole that is you and has been given to you as gift and present to use as you see fit. So, you know, we can call it, we can refer to it as shadow, but it's always blessed. Yeah. So I actually want to take the time to open up the space. Didn't do that the last couple, but we're here now, and we do this now. Calling on the four corners. Right now I'm kind of turned a bit. The east, west, north, south of me. I give thanks to the ancestors and to the angels, to the divine seen and unseen, to my guides and to my guardians, to the benevolent and honorable ancient spirit tribes, ascending masters and highest selves, all in the coven of the Most High. I give thanks and high gratitude to you, Yah. Amun, Aho, Dua, Islam, Yah. Let's see what we do. So, with that being said, being in shadow season, I would love for the collective to take pen or pencil to paper and make a list. This list could be made via your phone, but I'm actually asking for you to call on the elements, the magics of what paper, wood, actual physicality of a potent 3D, and a pencil and or pen, and what scribing, taking the energies of the self of the vessel and scribing it onto paper. That is a magic. That is a spell. That is a transfer of energies. And certain things are just powerful in certain elements as they go. Again, everything I say is not necessarily law. There are different frequencies that are coming in that are to usher in new vibes and new traditions and new rituals to usher us to the future. But we cannot forget the ancient, what the sciences are, what the soul speak is, and what the magics are to these elements, because that's how we will build on ancient future, if you will. So if you can get that pencil and that paper, we're going to take time to reflect on what we would consider to be light body, but more so what we consider to be the shadow part of the self, right? So let's take some time. I will take time as well. Paper. I'm always scribing, so don't get it twisted. I'm always scribing. Usually my problem is transferring my scribe over into the new technologies to make sure that it can continue on in that realm as well. So let's do some shadow, yeah? Come on. What would we consider elements of shadow selves? For me, the first thing that comes to mind when we're speaking of shadow is that is hidden, right? We exist on this realm, on this plane, sometimes telling a lot of white lies, hiding behind facades and our masks. And most of our sicknesses right now is because we can't come through authentic. We can't spill out in our full selves. So what part of that is being hidden, and why, right? Why are we hiding that part in the shadows? One of my elements, I'm just going to come right out and say it, is like my childlike qualities. And the reason why I have many spectrums of myself split. I've seen them come out, and I'm pretty sure there's some more to come out. But when I say that, my childlike curiosities and things like that in this realm, I find amongst most adults and elders comes off as a naivety. I understand that, like me asking questions, me being excited about a space, me being quiet in my vessel and element and just observing. Sometimes others take that as a naivety. I've learned to kind of use this key and see how other people use it in spectrum. One way I've kind of hid that, what you may call shadow side, if you will, is to overcompensate with guard, right? I don't always let the curiosities of my childlike self spill out. Because or even overcoming some of being open and joyful, because there's something about a lightheartedness sometimes that's on an adult vessel that people can't understand, and so they attempt and try to take advantage of that. Like, for example, I wouldn't say love is a part of my shadow, but in ways, in this element, in this urban space, there have been times where it has been. I've had people come up to me in my young age and ask me, why do you smile so much? They could feel my energy. Why is your rise, so high? And so I hid that. My authentic self used to big cheese smile. It wasn't welcomed here. It's not welcome there. So I will say part of my shadow, or a part of me that I did learn to hide, was a very potent childlike aspect of myself, because sometimes adult vessels don't like to see and or feel that joy in that space, because we don't warrant that. That's not what this space is here for, right? Let's see if there's any other shadow parts to this self. This is actually coming a lot easier than I thought. I want to speak to the shadows of sexuality, right? Which is very interesting. I've always had a gauge with this. I find that our culture is quite confused, and where we push sexualities to a point of imbalance and hypersensitivities, and it is a very sacred place and act, and therefore, but we don't allow space for it to be healthy and fluently spoken about, what these ties and attractions can be, and the realities of it. Within my journey, one thing I have definitely realized is that there are vessels, self included, that are here to analyze the sciences of the souls, the senses, and the sexualities, right? Because there is science there. How we work with the vessel, and actually the best creative energies and ways to learn how to harness the physical vessel that is here is through tantra and certain sexual exercises and connections. But one thing that I've learned, especially probably early on, and I feel like it's connected to a lot of cultures, would be shame. And shame can cover so many things, and the reason why I'm tethering it more or less to sexualities is because I find that layers things in how you dress, how you come across with your energy, how you believe others to perceive you, how you not being in flow with your senses and the sacred medicines that your sexualities can bring. It can actually turn that energy sour, and then you're on this plane, dishing it out unhealthy, constantly looking for outlets, energy sources, if you will, like an energy vampire looking to succubus that. In regards to me, I've always been a sensual being. And because of that, and the space that I've grown up in, I've actually pushed it down very, very, very much. And so for someone who is so sensual to not actually engage on those things, I've hindered a lot of my medicines, and I looked at it as a shadow space, right? So as I'm growing up as a high priestess, Abalozi, holistic and energy healer, the one thing that I'm finding out is that the senses is the things that absolutely have to be heightened. So you have to learn the science of your sexualities, of your vessel, of your body, especially and I speak to all beings mostly in baths and in speaking. I'm speaking more so to the feminine energy from my existence right now and my relation and tether too. But I know a lot of the medicines go to the movement of the body, to the release, to the exchange, especially when it comes to hips and things like that. And we actually hold a lot of shadow energy here. So we're not even supposed to have a certain kind of shape. We're really kind of stagnant. We're blocked. We're moving like robots and inanimate objects already. We just don't see it all the way. Sorry, I gotta let this frequency in. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. So one of the reasons why I'm highlighting this shadow space is to show you most places where we believe the shadow to be is the superpower looking to become unleashed, right? A third shadow space I would actually say for myself. So again, I spoke to my childlike self, which can kind of be all over the place, wild child, have these curiosities which can come off on the 3D as being a bit of a naivety, right? Or even just being carefree and wanting to exchange and believing that everybody has that energy. So I surrendered to that. Or I am now learning to surrender to that, because that was something I considered to be absolute part of a shadow. It wasn't strong enough to be in the forefront in this particular world. One of the second things that I've spoken to is the connection to shame and sexualities and expression, right? We don't always are conscious and aware how these things can affect us, how it pushes some of the qualities of our better selves down. I say that because I realize a lot of my sacred medicines come in regards to energy exchange and knowing how this vessel works. And so within that, I have to give to myself. I have to release the shame, and I have to grasp the magic of what was given to me when I was brought here, even as young, right? My third, I'll say, shadow, and I don't even know if these are the best shadows, but we just going along as we going. Made of these, who am I to disagree? I've traveled the world and 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. I think we all possess this. I've come in due to my family structure and foundation. I want to say that I have a good gauge of confidence, if you will, but really surrendering to one's true power. And I think we all can touch on this element of being brought here with a certain sense of greatness, other kind of knowing or remembering of what needs to be done and how to facilitate that journey, how to facilitate that mighty, but not all the way believing in it. You know what I'm saying? Not having all of your faith in or activations to bring it to this plane, right? So, and I say that because this is definitely a place I've been working on. I've lived in my mind's eye for most of my life, right? And divine has allowed me the structures to be the archetype and the architect of these worlds. And now I'm living in a season where he is now telling me I can manifest these into the solid. I can bring them here. And yet I doubt myself. You know, I'm speaking to, there's a part of me that believes it with every faith and pure being that is inside of me. That is the higher self. That is the part of me that I go to reach for every day. And then there is the part of the paradigm that was here with me initially, you know, that kind of fear-based bit of a touch. The part that allowed me to believe that part of my greatness is shadow. Or what is shadow to begin with, but my whole, given to me to be the one to discern when to use these emotions, these gifts, these fluxes, these ebbs, and this flow. So again, in the shadow season of 2021, I ask of you, collective, to please write down what you perceive to be your shadow side, and then better yet, why. I guarantee you there are pros and there are cons to each, and that includes light body energy as well. Where the superpower comes in is your personal discernment and how to use, uplift, and unleash it onto this world, plane, and paradigm. Yeah. So while we're here in shadow season, I want to send much love, much wholeness to you. And I want to see if I have something that I can take us out with. Something nice would be nice. Something nice would be nice. I have a lot of written pieces around here. Actually, if I can find this piece I just recently wrote, I would love that a lot. And the sister inspired it actually with a ride to the beach recently. I think it speaks a bit to the shadow, but me no can see. Okay, all right, it's all good. Let's see what else Spirit has around here for me. This is definitely, I would highly suggest this book. Sassafras, Cypress, and Indigo. It's about three sisters. I was actually highly recommended this book while I was in Costa Rica because sisters said that I actually reminded them of a character in the book who adorned themselves and were spiritual sisters here in New York City. So let me see if there's anything that comes through that speaks to here, because I really like this book. And everything is everywhere. Okay. Well, I can't right now because I'm not catching it in the light. But I guess I'll leave you with one of my favorite sayings and our affirmations, which is find yourself and be that. Yahweh, my immortals. Be divine and mighty in all you do. Yeah.